Alex's life had always been normal. School, homework, video games, and occasional weekend trips with his parents. He liked his quiet, predictable routine, and he was perfectly okay with it. Until the day his parents told him he would have a new roommate. Only this roommate wasn't just another human teen. Alex, his mother said with a mix of excitement and nervousness, you'll be hosting a student from another planet. It's part of the intergalactic exchange program. Alex stared at her. Wait, what? Another planet? Yes, his father added. Her name is Lyra. She's a teenager like you, but she's an alien. Alex blinked several times. Teen alien? Like with green skin and tentacles? His parents laughed. Not exactly, but she looks human enough that she can stay with you safely. The program is designed to help humans and aliens learn from each other. Alex felt his stomach twist with a mix of excitement and dread. He was imagining his life completely disrupted by some strange alien creature, watching him all the time. But part of him was curious too. What would an alien teen be like? 3 days later, the intergalactic shuttle landed quietly on the edge of town. Alex met Lyra in their small driveway. She was about his age, roughly 15 or 16, with sparkling eyes and strange, shimmering hair that seemed to slightly float as if it were weightless. She wore a uniform that looked sleek and futuristic, and she carried a small backpack filled with equipment Alex didn't even want to imagine. Lyra tilted her head and examined Alex carefully. You are human? She asked, her voice musical but precise. Yes, Alex said slowly. That's me. And you must be Lyra. Yes, I have traveled far to understand human ways, she said, looking around his yard like she was scanning every detail for scientific data. Alex swallowed. Yeah. Well, come inside. I'll show you your room. Lyra's room was a mix of alien technology and curiosity. She had brought small devices that floated, glowing tablets, and a holographic projector that could simulate environments. Alex tried not to stare too long. She unpacked quickly, her movements smooth and precise, and then turned to him with a serious expression. I must study humans, she said. I wish to understand how humans reproduce. I need to learn about your species biology. Alex choked on his drink. That's kind of personal. Lyra tilted her head. It is science. I'm not asking for feelings. I am asking for facts. Alex realized that explaining this would be tricky. Okay, facts, sure. We can, talk about it carefully. He decided to keep things very scientific, very safe. Human reproduction. Well, it's how humans make babies. It involves a male and a female, genetic material, and some processes I can explain with diagrams. Lyra's eyes lit up. Show me, I will learn everything, Alex sighed. All right, let's start with the basics. Over the next few hours, Alex taught Lyra using books, charts, and holograms. Lyra was fascinated. She asked questions nonstop. Why do humans form pairs? How do emotions influence reproduction? What is the role of trust? Alex tried to keep his explanations age-appropriate. Humans have feelings like love, friendship, trust, and these feelings help them decide who they want to spend their lives with and who they want to start a family with. Lyra nodded. Interesting. So feelings are a variable in your reproductive success? Yes, I guess you could say that, Alex replied, surprised at her scientific framing. Lyra spent the evening observing everything about human behavior, how Alex ate, how he used his phone, and even how he interacted with his parents over video calls. Every little detail was analyzed and stored in her memory banks. The next morning, Lyra was ready for more learning. I wish to simulate human reproduction, she announced, to understand your processes. You will assist me. Alex's eyes went wide. Simulate what? Lyra pulled out a small device that projected holographic human figures. We will use simulations. No harm, no feelings involved. I want to test human biology in controlled models. Alex breathed a sigh of relief. Oh, okay. That's much safer. They spent hours running simulations in the holographic lab. Lyra was fascinated by the way human bodies interacted, how DNA combined, and how genetics played a role in traits like eye color, hair, and height. Alex was impressed by her enthusiasm. She had a level of focus and curiosity that few humans he knew had. Lyra's curiosity wasn't just scientific, it was personal. She often asked questions about families, love, and how humans cared for each other. Alex explained in simple terms that humans were social creatures, and relationships mattered deeply. Emotions are essential, he said one evening. Without feelings, humans wouldn't work well together. Love and trust make humans strong. Lyra seemed to ponder this deeply. Fascinating. Your weakness is your strength. Emotional bonds improve your reproductive success and survival. Alex laughed. I never thought about it that way, but yeah, I guess so. School life was chaotic with Lyra around. She was excellent at academics and quickly became a curiosity magnet. Students whispered about her, fascinated by her alien features and intelligence. Teachers were amazed at her ability to learn and adapt. But her literal understanding of human culture led to funny misunderstandings. One day, during a biology class, the teacher asked the students to create a family tree project. Lyra presented a perfectly detailed, scientifically accurate chart, but she included alien genes and hypothetical combinations with humans. The class was in awe, but some students were confused. Alex had to explain quietly. She's just trying to understand humans better. Lyra nodded, seemingly proud. I am learning efficiently. Back at home, Lyra wanted to take her learning further. I wish to attempt a controlled, first-hand observation, she told Alex. I want to see human courtship. I want to understand pairing. Alex panicked slightly. Lyra, we are not doing that. That's personal and it's private, but we can simulate it. Lyra's eyes lit up. Simulation acceptable. No humans harmed. Ethical. Excellent. They spent the next few days creating holographic simulations of human social interactions, from first meetings to forming friendships and eventually dating. Alex guided her through every scenario, emphasizing respect, consent, and empathy. Lyra adapted quickly, noting patterns, strategies, and outcomes. She laughed at the human awkwardness in the simulations, fascinated by the ways humans communicated subtly with body language and tone. Alex laughed too, realizing how strange humans must look from an alien perspective. As weeks passed, Alex and Lyra developed a strong bond. They became friends, collaborators, and even co-researchers. Lyra's curiosity was endless, but her innocence and enthusiasm made it all feel safe and fun. Alex realized that despite all the advanced alien technology she brought with her, her perspective allowed him to appreciate humans in new ways. You know, Alex said one evening while they watched Earth's sunset from his backyard, humans aren't perfect. We make mistakes, we argue, we mess up. But we try. That's what makes us kind of special. Lyra tilted her head. Yes, imperfection and persistence. You are resilient. I understand more than I thought possible in a few weeks. Alex smiled. And I've learned a lot from you too. You're amazing. Lyra's eyes sparkled. Thank you, Alex. I will share these findings with my planet. Humans are complex, but admirable. That night, Alex lay in bed thinking about how much his life had changed. He had imagined chaos, maybe even danger, when he first heard he'd have an alien roommate. But instead, he had laughter, curiosity, and discovery. He realized humans had something that even advanced aliens could respect: heart, creativity, and the ability to teach and learn through trust. Lyra was asleep in the room next door, her devices quietly floating around her, analyzing dreams or storing data, and Alex smiled. The adventure was only beginning, and he couldn't wait to see what else this alien roommate would teach him about humans, and what humans could teach her in return. The next morning, Alex woke to the sound of buzzing equipment. Lyra was already in her room, tinkering with one of her small floating devices. It rotated rapidly, projecting holograms of humans performing everyday tasks. She hummed softly, her eyes glued to the shifting images. Morning, Lyra, Alex said, rubbing his eyes. Still running simulations? Yes, Lyra replied seriously. I am analyzing human social behaviors. Yesterday's data raised new questions, Alex groaned. You mean yesterday's social experiments at school? Lyra tilted her head. Yes, that is what you call school social interactions. My observations indicate that humans are highly unpredictable, Alex nodded slowly. You're not wrong, especially teenagers. At school, Lyra quickly became a phenomenon. Her ability to understand complex scientific concepts, coupled with her strange appearance and alien mannerisms, made her a target of curiosity. Some students were fascinated while others were skeptical. Whispers followed her wherever she went. During her first group project in history class, Lyra insisted on analyzing historical events using both human and alien data. If humans faced this scenario with advanced technology and knowledge from other species, the outcomes would differ significantly, she explained to her classmates. The group stared at her in silence. Then one boy whispered, "She's actually kind of smart." Lyra's eyes sparkled at the word smart. "Indeed," she said proudly. "Intelligence is a measurable variable. I calculate probabilities based on human behavior, and my predictions are usually accurate." Alex, sitting beside her, tried not to laugh. She was taking everything so seriously, but he admired her dedication. Lyra's curiosity wasn't limited to academics. During lunch, she observed the way humans ate, talked, and even how they gestured with their hands. She asked questions that made Alex blush, though he tried to remain professional. "Why do humans blush?" she asked while poking a holographic simulation of a human face. It's a response to embarrassment, emotions, or sometimes attraction," Alex explained carefully. Lyra tilted her head. "Fascinating. A physiological response tied to social stimuli. That is efficient, yes." "I guess," Alex muttered. He had never thought about his own body from a scientific perspective. Later, Lyra watched as two students approached each other shyly in the cafeteria. She leaned over to Alex and whispered, "Observe human courtship behavior. Notice the eye contact, the gestures, the subtle movements. I must record this," Alex nodded. "Right, but don't make it obvious. You don't want to freak them out." Lyra's eyes widened. "Why would observation cause distress?" "I am only collecting data," Alex sighed, "because humans can be sensitive, especially teenagers." After school, Lyra insisted on trying a new experiment. She had noticed that humans formed bonds not just through biology, but also through shared experiences and teamwork. She wanted to test whether humans could form trust quickly in controlled scenarios. "Alex, we will conduct a social bonding simulation," she announced. "I will create a holographic environment and introduce variables." "You will participate," Alex groaned. "I don't know if I'm ready for another one of your experiments." Lyra's eyes narrowed. "You agreed to assist me. You are responsible for guiding my understanding. Participation is required." With a resigned sigh, Alex agreed. They went to Lyra's room, where she projected a holographic maze filled with challenges designed for 2 participants. Each challenge required cooperation, problem-solving, and communication. Alex and Lyra worked together, navigating obstacles, solving puzzles, and responding to unexpected events in the simulation. Lyra was precise, calculating probabilities for every move. Alex, meanwhile, relied on instinct and creativity. At one point, a simulated hazard appeared, a collapsing bridge over a holographic canyon. Lyra calculated the safest route, but Alex instinctively grabbed her hand and pulled her to solid ground. Lyra froze for a moment, then analyzed the action. "You acted without calculation," she observed, "but it resulted in optimal outcome." "Emotional intuition is valuable," Alex laughed. "See? Humans aren't all about math and logic. Sometimes gut feeling saves the day." Lyra's eyes sparkled. "I will record this. Emotional intuition enhances survival outcomes." Word about Lyra's unusual behavior spread quickly. Some students tried to befriend her out of curiosity, while others were intimidated by her intelligence. One group of students challenged her to a trivia contest, thinking her alien logic might not translate to human knowledge. Lyra accepted eagerly. Alex sat beside her, nervous but curious to see how she would perform. The contest began, and Lyra answered every question with remarkable accuracy. Not only did she recall historical facts, but she also provided logical explanations for cultural trends and scientific developments. By the end of the contest, she had won easily. The students stared, wide-eyed, impressed, and slightly awed. "She's amazing," one whispered. Alex smiled. "Yeah, she really is." Lyra turned to Alex, proud. "Humans are fascinating. Your species' knowledge is vast, but I can see patterns. Efficiency increases with observation and cooperation." Alex laughed. "Glad you approve." Despite her achievements, Lyra still struggled with certain human customs. During gym class, she tried to play soccer but misunderstood the rules. She attempted to calculate the perfect angle for every pass using her alien technology, but humans were unpredictable, kicking the ball in unexpected ways. "Your methods are inefficient," she said, slightly frustrated. "Randomness is challenging," Alex smiled. "That's humans for you. We're unpredictable, messy, but sometimes that's what makes us great." Lyra paused, considering this messiness. Perhaps it increases adaptability. Interesting. After school, Alex and Lyra spent time in the backyard discussing human relationships in more depth. Lyra wanted to understand why humans formed families and couples, and what motivated their choices. You say humans choose partners based on trust, respect, and emotional connection, she said. How does biology influence this? Alex explained carefully. Biology gives us instincts, things like attraction, compatibility, and how healthy we might be for each other. But humans don't just follow instincts. We consider personalities, values, and how well we connect emotionally. Lyra processed this quietly. So emotional intelligence is as important as biological compatibility. Fascinating. Humans are complex. Alex nodded. Exactly. And that complexity is part of what makes humans special. One evening, Lyra proposed a new kind of experiment. She wanted to see how humans reacted to problem-solving under pressure, with trust and teamwork involved. Alex agreed, thinking it would be safe. Lyra created a holographic scenario in which Alex and she were explorers navigating a strange alien world. The simulation included environmental hazards, puzzles, and moral dilemmas. As they worked through the challenges, Alex realized Lyra's analytical mind was almost unbeatable, but she didn't account for human creativity and improvisation. He found ways to combine logic with instinct, surprising Lyra with solutions she hadn't predicted. "You improvise," she said in amazement. "Your methods are not optimal according to data, yet highly effective." "Humans adapt quickly," Alex grinned. "That's one of our strengths. We can think on our feet, sometimes without data or calculations." Lyra nodded thoughtfully. "Adaptability, a key factor in survival. I must integrate this into my studies." As days turned into weeks, Lyra's understanding of humans deepened. She began recognizing emotions, humor, and even sarcasm. She learned why humans made mistakes, why they valued friendships, and how relationships could shape decisions. One afternoon, Alex caught her quietly observing a group of students laughing together. She whispered, "Humans, your interactions are unpredictable yet meaningful. Emotional connections influence decisions more than calculations." Alex smiled. "Yeah, that's what makes life interesting." Lyra nodded, recording every detail. "Interesting. Humans are resilient, adaptable, and surprisingly kind. These qualities increase survival and cooperation." Alex realized that through teaching her, he had learned about his own species in a new way. Humans were more than biology and instinct. They were creative, moral, and capable of extraordinary empathy. Even though Lyra's curiosity was endless, she remained respectful of boundaries. She never tried to interfere in private matters, and she approached every subject with scientific fascination rather than personal desire. This made it safe for Alex to continue guiding her while keeping their environment friendly and cooperative. By the end of Part 2, their partnership had grown into something more than student and researcher. It was a true friendship built on trust, curiosity, and the joy of learning. Alex admired Lyra's intelligence, and Lyra admired the human spirit, its resilience, adaptability, and emotional depth. The adventure was far from over. Lyra still had many questions, and Alex still had much to teach. Together, they were exploring not only the science of humans, but also the heart of what made humanity extraordinary. And for Alex, each day with Lyra was a reminder that learning and friendship could come from the most unexpected places, even from a teen alien roommate trying to understand human life for the first time. Lyra's fascination with humans continued to grow every day. Alex had thought that after weeks of observing, simulating, and discussing, she might slow down, but that was not the case. She had reached a new stage of curiosity, a desire to see human behavior in controlled, yet practical scenarios. "Alex," she said one evening, her eyes sparkling, "I wish to attempt a controlled experiment to understand human-pair interactions. Not reproduction directly, but the bonding process, how trust, cooperation, and communication create partnerships." Alex froze. "Okay, slow down. You mean like teamwork exercises?" "Yes," Lyra replied. "Simulations have limitations. I require first-hand observation under safe, ethical conditions. I wish to see how humans respond when they collaborate under challenges." Alex exhaled. "All right. Safe, ethical, got it. Let's plan this carefully." The next morning, Alex and Lyra transformed the backyard into a learning arena. Lyra's holographic projector displayed an environment that looked like a small island with obstacles, hidden paths, and simple puzzles. Alex was amazed at the detail. Wow, this looks real, Lyra nodded. The realism will improve accuracy. Your cooperation is essential, Alex. Alex laughed nervously. I'm ready. I think. The first scenario was simple. Retrieving hidden data modules scattered around the island. Each module required 2 participants to solve a mini-puzzle. Alex realized immediately that Lyra's logic was flawless, but humans often solve problems differently, using creativity rather than pure calculation. Alex, she said, your approach is unusual. You do not calculate every step, yet you succeed. That's human intuition, Alex replied. Sometimes you just have to try something and see what happens. Lyra's eyes widened. Fascinating. Emotional intuition influences success. I must note this. As the day progressed, Lyra introduced more complex tasks. They had to navigate simulated storms, avoid environmental hazards, and decide which paths were safest. Alex noticed a pattern. Lyra's decisions were precise, but she was cautious. Humans, however, often took risks that seemed reckless, but sometimes those risks paid off. You take chances, Lyra observed. Why? Because sometimes the calculated path isn't the best, Alex said. You have to adapt. That's what humans are good at. Lyra considered this silently. Adaptation. Unpredictable behavior. Advantageous. Humans are flexible, Alex smiled. See? That's a human superpower. Lyra was particularly interested in trust. She created a puzzle that required them to rely on each other's instructions completely. Alex had to guide her through a maze while she was blindfolded in the simulation, unable to see any of the hazards. Trust is essential, Lyra said. I will follow your instructions, but only if I understand the logic behind them. Alex laughed. You're overthinking it. Just follow my lead. I cannot do that, Lyra said firmly. I need reasoning. I am logical. Humans, I am learning, need both logic and emotion. Your instructions must reflect that. Alex tried to explain, okay. Basically, you have to listen but also believe that I have your best interests in mind. Lyra paused. Belief, emotional component. I understand. They began the maze. Alex gave instructions. Lyra followed, and gradually they reached the end successfully. Lyra analyzed the data immediately. Observation. Trust requires emotional acceptance and logical validation. Humans combine reasoning with belief to cooperate effectively. This is advanced, Alex chuckled. Yeah, it's complicated, but it works. The most interesting part of the day came when Lyra introduced a moral dilemma simulation. 2 paths were presented. One path guaranteed quick success but could potentially harm virtual participants, while the other was longer and more challenging but safe for all. Alex, choose, Lyra said. Your decision will demonstrate human moral reasoning. Alex thought carefully. I'll take the longer path. Safety comes first. Even if it takes more effort, it's the right thing to do. Lyra analyzed this silently for a few moments. You prioritize ethical considerations over efficiency. Fascinating. Humans integrate morality with problem solving. This is a defining trait, Alex smiled. And it's one of our best traits. Over the next several days, Alex and Lyra continued their practical experiments. Lyra created scenarios that mimicked human daily life. Teamwork exercises, social interactions, and problem-solving challenges. She recorded data meticulously, taking notes on patterns of communication, cooperation, and adaptability. Sometimes Lyra's curiosity led to humorous misunderstandings. Once she tried to mimic a friendly handshake and ended up performing a complex alien gesture that left Alex dizzy. Another time, she attempted to mimic human laughter by emitting strange musical tones, which caused nearby birds to scatter in alarm. Alex couldn't help but laugh at her antics. You're not bad at it. Just a little different. Lyra observed his reaction carefully. Your amusement indicates positive social feedback. Humor is an important factor in human bonding. Alex nodded. Exactly. Humor makes friendship stronger. One afternoon, they decided to focus on communication under pressure. Lyra created a scenario in which they were stranded on a virtual island with limited resources. They had to ration supplies, build shelters, and solve multiple environmental puzzles. Alex immediately took charge, using both logic and improvisation. Lyra calculated precise methods for resource management, but Alex's intuition often led them to solutions faster than she expected. "You improvise again," she said in surprise. "Humans, your unpredictability is efficient when combined with logic." Alex laughed. "It's not perfect, but it works. We call it creativity." Lyra paused. "Creativity, adaptability, resilience. Humans are complex but capable of remarkable outcomes." Alex smiled. "Yeah, that's us in a nutshell." Lyra's fascination with human emotions deepened as well. She noticed subtle behaviors, eye contact, body language, tone of voice that indicated trust, hesitation, or curiosity. She started recording these alongside her simulated exercises, creating a comprehensive map of human social dynamics. "Alex," she said one evening, "I am beginning to understand. Human behavior is not purely instinctive. Emotional intelligence, creativity, and moral judgment influence outcomes significantly. Your species combines intellect with empathy." Alex nodded, impressed. "That's a big part of being human. We think, we feel, and we care." Lyra paused for a moment. "I admire this. Humans are remarkable. Your complexity is a survival advantage." The most challenging experiment came when Lyra introduced a team conflict scenario. Two simulated participants disagreed on strategy, and Alex had to mediate without controlling the situation completely. Lyra wanted to see how humans resolve disagreements while maintaining trust and cooperation. Alex approached the task carefully. He listened to both sides, suggested compromises, and encouraged empathy. Slowly, the virtual participants began working together again. Lyra observed silently. Resolution achieved through negotiation, empathy, and reasoning. Humans manage conflict with both intellect and emotion. Insightful. Alex smiled. "That's what we do. We don't just fight, we find solutions. That's how we survive together." By the end of the week, Lyra's understanding of humans had grown tremendously. She had learned not only about biology and social structure, but also about cooperation, morality, creativity, and emotional intelligence. Alex realized that teaching her had changed him as well. He appreciated his own species' strengths more clearly, the way humans could adapt, improvise, and care for one another. "You know, Alex," Lyra said one evening as they finished another exercise, "your species is impressive. I see why humans have survived and thrived despite challenges. Emotional intelligence, intuition, creativity. Combined with logic, you are formidable." Alex grinned. "Thanks, Lyra, and I have to admit, you've taught me a lot too. You make me look at humans in a new way." Lyra tilted her head. "Mutual learning is valuable. Your species' strength is not only in survival but in collaboration and innovation." Alex nodded. "Exactly. That's what makes humans human." That night, as Alex went to bed, he thought about how much had changed since Lyra arrived. She was more than just a roommate or a study partner. She was a friend, a collaborator, and a mirror that reflected the best parts of humanity. Lyra, meanwhile, quietly continued her observations from the other room. Her devices floated around her, recording, analyzing, and storing every detail. She was eager for the next experiment, the next chance to understand humans better. For Alex, life had become an adventure, filled with learning, laughter, and discovery. And for Lyra, each day brought new insights into a species she had traveled light years to study. Together, they were building not only knowledge but also a unique friendship that bridged two very different worlds. And even though the practical experiments were challenging, Alex realized they were fun. He had never imagined that studying humans, his own species, could be so exciting and rewarding, especially with a teen alien roommate guiding the way. By the start of Part 4, Lyra had already learned a great deal about humans. She knew their biology, their social structures, and even their problem-solving methods. But there was one area she still didn't fully understand: the deeper emotional aspects that guided human relationships. Friendship, trust, empathy, and subtle emotional bonds. One afternoon, Alex sat in the living room doing homework, when Lyra approached him with her usual determined look. "Alex, I wish to study the emotional connections humans form outside structured exercises. Specifically, I want to observe interactions that are voluntary, not directed by simulations." Alex raised an eyebrow. "You mean just regular hanging out with people?" "Yes," Lyra said. "I need raw, unsupervised data. I will not interfere. I will only observe and record." Alex chuckled. "All right. But don't freak anyone out, okay? Lyra nodded seriously. Understood. The next day they went to a local park. Humans were interacting in casual ways, laughing, sharing food, playing games, and chatting. Lyra observed carefully, taking notes on body language, tone of voice, facial expressions, and gestures. She was fascinated by how small actions could convey so much information, how a smile could build trust, or how a subtle gesture could express concern. Alex watched her closely. It's interesting, isn't it? Humans communicate so much without even speaking. Lyra's eyes sparkled. Indeed. Your species relies on multiple layers of signals. Observation alone is not enough. One must interpret context and intent, Alex laughed. Yeah, context is everything. Later, a group of teenagers approached, curious about Lyra. She greeted them politely, answering questions about her alien homeworld and her studies. The students were initially cautious but quickly warmed to her because of her polite demeanor and sincere curiosity. Alex noticed how she used humor, albeit awkwardly at first, to connect with humans. Her first jokes were strange, almost alien, but the effort impressed the teens. You're funny, one girl said, laughing at Lyra's literal interpretation of a common saying. Lyra noted this. Humor strengthens social bonds. It requires understanding cultural norms and emotional context. Alex nodded. Exactly. Humans like people who make them laugh. It builds trust and friendship. After the park, Lyra wanted to study trust in more controlled scenarios. She created another holographic simulation, this time focusing entirely on interpersonal communication. The simulation placed two participants in situations where they had to rely on each other emotionally and socially, rather than physically or technically. Alex became her volunteer again. The first scenario was simple. One participant had to share a personal problem, and the other had to respond in a supportive way. Alex tried to guide Lyra in understanding empathy, how to recognize feelings, listen attentively, and respond appropriately. You don't just say words, Alex explained. You listen. You feel a little of what the other person is feeling, and you respond in a way that shows you care. Lyra tilted her head. Emotional mirroring. Interesting. Humans transmit trust and comfort through empathy. Observation only is insufficient. Comprehension is required, Alex smiled. Exactly. You've got it. The next scenario tested conflict resolution. Lyra simulated two humans with opposing views in a team setting. Alex explained how humans often disagree, but the best outcomes come from negotiation, compromise, and understanding each other's perspectives. Lyra observed carefully, noting every nuance in tone, body language, and facial expression. She tried to predict outcomes based on logic alone, but quickly realized that emotional responses often altered the situation. I see now, Lyra said thoughtfully. Humans are not purely logical. Emotion guides decisions, and social harmony is often prioritized over pure efficiency. Alex nodded. It's messy sometimes, but it works. People are adaptable and willing to forgive when they trust each other. Lyra paused for a moment. Trust, forgiveness. These are evolutionary advantages. I understand now. Humans use emotion as a survival tool, not just a social decoration. The next day, Lyra wanted to study collaboration outside simulations. She suggested volunteering at a local community center with Alex. They helped organize supplies, guide children in games, and assist with small tasks around the center. Lyra was fascinated by the way humans coordinated without explicit instructions. Children worked together, sharing ideas, helping each other, and resolving minor conflicts independently. Adults provided guidance but also allowed autonomy. Alex watched as Lyra carefully recorded every interaction. You're learning a lot from this, aren't you? He asked. Yes, Lyra replied. Observation shows that humans teach through experience, using social cues and emotional reinforcement. This method is efficient and effective for group learning. Alex smiled. See, we're not just smart. We're adaptable and collaborative. That's why humans thrive in groups. Back at home, Lyra's curiosity shifted toward emotional trust between individuals who already knew each other well. She asked Alex to describe his friendships and family relationships. Alex hesitated for a moment, but then shared stories about his parents, siblings, and close friends. Lyra listened intently, asking questions about loyalty, forgiveness, support, and shared experiences. Humans maintain bonds not only through necessity, but also through choice and commitment, she observed. This adds layers to your social structure, Alex nodded. Yeah, we choose who matters to us, and that choice strengthens our relationships over time. Lyra analyzed this carefully. Choice, voluntary cooperation, empathy, and shared history. These factors enhance emotional bonds. Humans are surprisingly sophisticated. Over the next few days, Alex noticed that Lyra had begun attempting subtle human gestures herself. She practiced handshakes, nods, eye contact, and even casual small talk. At first, her attempts were awkward, sometimes too formal, sometimes too literal, but she improved quickly. One evening, while sitting on the couch, Lyra turned to Alex. I have noticed something remarkable. Humans use emotional cues to influence behavior. Humor, tone, gestures, empathy all combine to create trust networks. This is efficient social engineering, Alex laughed. We call it friendship. Lyra tilted her head. Friendship, a term for mutual emotional support and trust. I understand. Humans use these networks to survive and thrive socially. Alex smiled. Exactly. And it's what makes us human. Lyra's learning wasn't just theoretical. She started applying her new understanding in daily life. She complimented others sincerely, showed concern for classmates who were upset, and even comforted Alex when he felt stressed about school. Alex noticed her attempts, sometimes clumsy but always well-intentioned. You're really getting the hang of this, Alex said one afternoon. Lyra's eyes sparkled. Your species' emotional complexity is fascinating. I can now predict outcomes with better accuracy because I consider not only logic but feelings and social context. Alex laughed. See? Humans aren't easy to figure out, but that's what makes us interesting. One weekend, Lyra proposed an outdoor experiment in teamwork and emotional bonding. She created a treasure hunt with hidden clues, puzzles, and small challenges. Alex invited a few friends to participate, and Lyra observed silently while recording interactions. The hunt was chaotic and fun. Teenagers argued, laughed, helped each other, and occasionally broke the rules. But overall, the team succeeded. Lyra was amazed at the balance between chaos and order, spontaneity and cooperation. This is remarkable, she said. Humans operate in a dynamic system where emotion, trust, creativity, and logic interact. I am gaining a far deeper understanding than simulations alone could provide. Alex grinned. And you get to see it in action. That's real human life. As Part 4 came to a close, Lyra's understanding of humans had reached a new depth. She now comprehended emotional intelligence, trust, humor, empathy, and moral reasoning. Alex realized that teaching her had changed him too. He now saw his own species in a new light. Their resilience, adaptability, creativity, and moral awareness were extraordinary. You've learned a lot, Lyra, Alex said one evening. And honestly, you've taught me a lot too. You see humans in ways I never thought about. Lyra smiled faintly. Mutual learning is effective. Humans are complex, but I admire your species. Emotional and logical integration is impressive, Alex nodded. Yeah, that's what makes humans strong. We survive, adapt, and grow because of it. Lyra's eyes sparkled. And I will share these findings with my people. They will understand why humans are exceptional. Alex looked at his alien roommate, realizing that she had gone beyond curiosity. She had begun to respect and admire humans, not just as a species, but as individuals capable of incredible growth and cooperation. Together, they had built more than experiments. They had built understanding, trust, and friendship, a bridge between two worlds. And even though Lyra still had many questions, Alex knew that the foundation for her understanding of humanity was now strong. Their journey was far from over, but Part 4 closed on a moment of triumph. Both human and alien learning from each other, discovering strengths in logic, emotion, and adaptability, and forming a friendship that promised even greater discoveries in the days to come. By the time Part 5 began, Lyra's understanding of humans had become almost comprehensive. She knew about biology, logic, social behavior, and now she had delved deeply into emotions, trust, and the subtle dynamics that made humans extraordinary. Yet she remained eager to explore more, to see if there were aspects of human nature that still eluded her. One morning, Lyra approached Alex with a bright expression. Alex, I wish to conduct a final series of observations. This time I want to study human creativity, innovation, and spontaneous decision-making in unstructured environments. Alex raised an eyebrow. Unstructured? Huh? That sounds messy. Yes, Lyra said almost excitedly. Messiness is a critical factor. I want to see how humans respond without guidance or predefined rules. Alex sighed, smiling. All right, let's do it. They decided to spend the day at a local maker fair. People of all ages were building, inventing, and experimenting. Children constructed intricate models, teens created innovative gadgets, and adults demonstrated projects that combined technology and art. Lyra's eyes widened. Incredible. Humans express creativity in so many ways. Observation alone cannot capture the depth. Participation is necessary, Alex nodded. Exactly. Sometimes the best way to understand humans is to dive right in. Lyra hesitated. Participate? With you? Yes, Alex said. We'll create something together. No rules, just ideas. Lyra agreed, though her methodical mind immediately tried to organize materials, categorize tools, and plan every step. Alex, on the other hand, began improvising, combining random parts and experimenting spontaneously. You are chaotic, Lyra said after observing his method for a few minutes. Not chaotic, Alex replied with a grin. Creative? Lyra paused. Creativity. Emotional and cognitive flexibility. Humans often achieve success through this process. Together, they constructed a small robotic device designed to navigate a miniature obstacle course. Lyra calculated precise trajectories and mechanisms, while Alex improvised solutions when something didn't work as planned. The combination of logic and intuition allowed them to complete the task faster than either could have alone. Lyra's sensors recorded everything meticulously. Observation. Integration of analytical logic and spontaneous creativity yields optimal outcomes. Humans excel when combining these approaches. Alex laughed. See, I told you humans are adaptable. Lyra's eyes sparkled. Adaptable. Resilient. Impressive. Your species' survival strategies are more intricate than I imagined. After the fair, Lyra suggested a reflective exercise. She wanted to understand human motivation. What drives people to create, to care, and to persevere? Alex took her to a quiet park overlooking the city. People create for different reasons, he explained. Some do it for fun, some for recognition, some to help others. But mostly, they do it because it feels meaningful, Lyra observed quietly. Meaning, emotional significance. Humans act not solely for survival but for purpose. Fascinating. Purpose enhances effort and innovation. Alex nodded. Exactly. When you care about something, you put your heart into it. Lyra paused. Humans are remarkable. Your actions are guided by intellect, emotion, and purpose simultaneously. This combination strengthens survival and social cohesion. Alex smiled. You're starting to sound like a human yourself. Lyra tilted her head. Perhaps. I am learning from humans, and perhaps adopting aspects of your behavior. The next day, Lyra wanted to explore humor and its role in human bonding more deeply. Alex introduced her to stand-up comedy clips, funny skits, and humorous storytelling. Lyra analyzed the timing, gestures, expressions, and cultural references, attempting to understand why humans laughed and how humor influenced social bonds. Observation. Humor creates shared emotional experiences, builds trust, and reinforces relationships, Lyra stated. It is an advanced form of social cohesion. Alex laughed. Exactly. And sometimes it's just fun. Lyra tilted her head thoughtfully. Fun, emotional engagement without direct survival benefit. Humans integrate pleasure into social learning. Remarkable. Later that week, Lyra expressed curiosity about human moral dilemmas. She wanted to see how humans balanced personal desires with ethical considerations in real-world scenarios. Alex suggested volunteering at a local shelter. They spent the day helping organize resources, guiding children in activities, and assisting staff. Lyra observed interactions between volunteers, staff, and visitors, paying attention to decisions that involved empathy, compromise, and ethical judgment. I observe a pattern, Lyra said thoughtfully. Humans often act against immediate personal gain to benefit others. Altruism, empathy. These behaviors are not mandated biologically but socially reinforced. Humans thrive because of this cooperation. Alex nodded. It's one of our strongest traits. Caring for others isn't always easy, but it makes society stronger. Lyra's eyes sparkled. Humans. Resilient, cooperative, empathetic, creative, adaptable. I now understand why your species survives against adversity. As the days passed, Lyra applied her understanding in smaller, subtle ways. She greeted people with warmth, complimented friends sincerely, and even anticipated social needs without being prompted. Alex noticed her growing confidence in human interactions. One evening, she turned to him quietly. "Alex, I have reached a conclusion. Humans combine intellect, emotion, creativity, purpose, and social cohesion in ways that are unique and highly effective. Your species is exceptional." Alex smiled. "I think you've finally figured us out." Lyra shook her head slightly. "Not entirely. Humans are infinitely complex, but I now comprehend the core elements that guide your behavior. My observations can now predict human responses with much greater accuracy." Alex laughed. "Well, you've come a long way. From clueless alien to near-human social scientist." Lyra tilted her head, smiling faintly. "Near-human, amusing. I will take that as a compliment." The next challenge Lyra proposed was entirely personal. She wanted to see how humans respond to trust in close relationships, those formed not out of necessity, but out of mutual respect and care. Alex agreed to participate. Lyra created a private scenario, simple but emotionally revealing. They had to solve challenges that required both verbal and nonverbal communication, emotional support, and decision-making based on empathy rather than logic alone. As they navigated the tasks, Lyra observed Alex's subtle gestures, encouragement, reassurance, and patience. She noticed how humans communicate comfort and understanding without words, how trust is built gradually through consistent support. "You provide emotional guidance without instruction," Lyra noted. "Trust is cultivated over repeated interactions, and humans respond predictably to sincerity and care." Alex smiled. "Exactly. Friendship, partnership. It's about consistency, empathy, and reliability." Lyra processed this silently. "Humans are sophisticated emotional beings. I now understand the foundation of bonds that go beyond survival and efficiency." Over the next several days, Lyra continued experimenting with creative, ethical, and emotional tasks. She observed humans in storytelling, sports, artistic expression, and cooperative projects. She even tried participating herself, applying everything she had learned. Sometimes her efforts were awkward. During a soccer game, she misjudged signals and ran in the wrong direction. While painting with children, she overanalyzed color choices. Yet every mistake was a learning opportunity, and she improved quickly. Alex laughed at her antics. "You're getting better every day. Soon you'll be almost human." Lyra considered this seriously. Almost human. "I understand the meaning. My goal is not to replace human intuition, but to comprehend it fully. Integration of understanding is sufficient." The final day of their experiments arrived. Lyra created a comprehensive scenario combining all elements she had studied: logic, creativity, emotional intelligence, morality, trust, humor, and adaptability. Alex was her partner, naturally. The scenario was a simulated city facing multiple challenges: resource shortages, environmental hazards, and social dilemmas. Participants had to cooperate, make moral decisions, adapt to unpredictable events, and support each other emotionally. Alex and Lyra worked together seamlessly. Alex improvised, Lyra calculated, and together they made decisions balancing logic, empathy, and creativity. Each challenge was met successfully, demonstrating the culmination of all her learning. Lyra analyzed the results carefully. Observation complete. Humans integrate multiple cognitive, emotional, and social components to optimize survival and societal cohesion. Your species' adaptability and ingenuity are exceptional, Alex grinned. "Well, I think you've passed the human test." Lyra tilted her head, faintly smiling. "Perhaps, but I will continue to observe. Humans are infinite in complexity, and every day brings new variables." That evening, Alex and Lyra sat quietly on the porch, watching the sunset. The week's activities had strengthened not only Lyra's understanding but also their friendship. "Alex," Lyra said softly, "I am grateful. Your guidance has allowed me to comprehend humans far beyond simulations. You have demonstrated patience, cooperation, empathy, and trust. These qualities are admirable," Alex smiled. "I think you've taught me too, Lyra. You've shown me that learning is about curiosity, openness, and friendship. You've made me see humans in a whole new way. Lyra's eyes sparkled faintly. Mutual learning. A powerful concept. Our collaboration has created understanding across species.